Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez made history when she became the youngest woman ever to be elected to the U.S. House of Representatives during the midterm elections of 2018, but she ran on one very unique platform: abolish the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, otherwise known as ICE. ICE was established back in 2002, when the former Bush administration chose to engage in a massive governmental reorganization, which the Department of Homeland Security calls the biggest government reorganization since the development of the Department of Defense. Now, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency was created in result of this new government reorganization, but the primary purpose, as stated by the Department of Homeland Security on their website, was to protect American citizens from cross-border crime and illegal immigration, all in the name of protecting American citizens. However, as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez pointed out, along with many critics, this new job description of a powerful new government organization has been left up to interpretation over the past couple of years. David Beyer, speaking for the Cato Institute for the Center for Global Liberty and Prosperity, explains that this new organization, ICE, was given both civil and criminal authority, something that most other law enforcement agencies are not given access to. Now, essentially what this did is it made it to where ICE could get access to information regarding both civil and criminal cases, basically garnering them access to every single bit of information under every law enforcement agency. Doing so gave ICE more power than most other organizations a part of the government today, and it also, as David Beyer continues with the Cato Institute, gave them access to engaging in unwarranted arrests, forceful detainment, and the deportation of thousands of citizens simply because they were in fact immigrants. ICE is seemingly out of control, and considering this organization is still incredibly ambiguous, yet has so much power, it has become imperative we better understand what it is. To do so, we will explore its history, then discuss how it functions today, before finally drawing implications. To better understand a government organization that the New York Times recently said is the most controversial one today. When the former Bush administration chose to combine 22 federal agencies, most were concerned about how exactly we would control this new federal agency. So, to understand how ICE functions the way it does today, it's important to discuss how exactly it developed over the years. When the Bush administration chose to engage in this reorganization, they chose to basically collapse both spheres of immigration services. First, they combined the Immigration and Naturalization Services under the Justice Department, and they also combined the U.S. Customs Enforcement under the Treasury Department. By taking away citizens' right to due process by combining it with the U.S. Customs Enforcement Agency, it created a lot of gray area to what exactly these citizens could actually get access to as far as rights in the United States go, which leads Dara Lind, an immigration analyst and senior correspondent with Vox, to explain that the rhetoric seriously shifted when President Trump, or rather former President Trump, chose to shift the conversation around immigrants. You see, he stated, "The threat of terrorism and mass murder on our soil must be met with a formidable, unified response." But by him saying these specific words, talking about the threat of terrorism and mass murder, he was talking about immigration specifically, meaning that we were no longer talking about how to control or regulate immigration. We were instead talking about how to protect American citizens from immigration. Forward just 2 years, and we have Operation Endgame, which, as explained by the Department of Homeland Security, was an operation meant to eliminate 100% of undocumented immigrants in the United States between the years 2003 and 2015. Obviously, this didn't seem very possible considering how many undocumented immigrants there were in the United States, and there still are today, and the operation wasn't necessarily entirely effective. However, it did put into motion a massive, aggressive campaign against immigrants, with the Migration Policy Institute explaining that Operation Endgame created over 44 teams of individuals against immigrants, along with 46,000 hired agents, and a budget larger than all other law enforcement agencies combined, giving ICE the resources, tools, and power to do whatever they want. We've all known that immigration is a divisive issue in the United States. However, the way it's been treated under this current administration is certainly unprecedented. To understand what exactly ICE is, it's important to discuss how it functions today, and how they've both utilized and interpreted their powers they've been given under the government. Most states under ICE, under this new government organization, chose one of two stances. They either chose to offer the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency full reign under all of their records, or they chose to avoid interaction with them altogether. The Bipartisan Policy Institute, a comprehensive non-profit organization, explained in 2018 that following the creation of ICE, over 300 jurisdictions in Colorado, California, Connecticut, and so many more states created sanctuary policies. Sanctuary policies established certain cities as sanctuary cities, basically stating that immigrants would be safe there and could not be harmed by ICE in any sort of way, or at least the cities would do as much as they could to protect these citizens. However, in other states, they sort of took the exact opposite approach. For example, in Texas, Senate Bill 4 was passed in November of 2016, basically outlawing all sanctuary cities. And in 2018, Bill 287G was passed, or rather re-emphasized by the current Trump administration. Bill 287G was passed back in 1996. However, there was no sort of teeth to enforce this measurement, which stated that no states could refuse to work with the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. However, Tom Dart, speaking for The Guardian, explains, President Donald Trump chose to re-emphasize this policy at a prime time, one where not only are we talking about immigration a lot, but where we also have a new actor to enforce this policy, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. This has led to the creation in 20 states and 74 jurisdictions of multiple different types of contracts with the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. Today, because of Trump's re-emphasis of 287G, more states than ever before are working with the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. This has given ICE access to records, basically giving them the ability to detain any individual even expected of being an immigrant. Without the expectation that ICE takes accountability for their actions, a lot can certainly go wrong with a powerful organization. After understanding the development of ICE and how it functions, how different states interpret their power, it's important to understand two critical implications, dealing with public trust and public safety. First, talking about public trust. Christian Chan with the Chicago Policy Review in 2018 published a massive study conducting a research about the relationship between the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency agents and citizens of Latina descent, which they found, because of the aggressive nature of the relationship and because of how it's developed over the years, creating a clear power dynamic, this has led to a significant decrease in the average citizen's ability to trust local government officials as well as different agents, meaning that citizens are walking around the streets terrified of the individuals that are literally designed to protect them, meaning that their public trust, their ability to actually trust their government, has significantly decreased over the years. In addition, with a decrease in trust, you have an increased risk of safety for citizens overall. As the aforementioned study with Chan states with the Chicago Policy Institute, the brutal and abusive interactions between ICE agents and citizens of Latina descent has been so horrible over the past couple of years that it's resulted in a chilling effect, where citizens actually are afraid when they see different types of police officials walking the streets, individuals who you are supposed to feel more safe around, which the New York Times reports just earlier this year, that there was also another instance of a massive lawsuit between a United States citizen because they were unlawfully detained by the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency for an extended period of time. But there was also another instance where ICE brutally hurt an entire family who they thought were undocumented immigrants, but who were in fact U.S. citizens. All of this forces us to ask one question. Is the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency designed to protect all Americans, or just the ones who appear to be white? Today, we discuss the history of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, how different states have interpreted and how they've utilized their power, and finally we discuss two critical implications. It's clear that with this organization and so much power that it has, significant clarification is certainly needed. However, while this move for reorganization was certainly necessary back in 2002, especially following the tragic events of 9/11, it's unnecessary. It's unknown whether or not we actually achieved the objectives we were shooting for. A recent CNN report found that 2,500 families are detained every single day in the United States. Families and lives are being destroyed, all in the name of national security. And it's time we know exactly what that means.